Hi, I'm Marlo from Wild Food UK. I've been out foraging already today, and now I'm going to cook up prepare, not even cook, a very quick forager's lunch based on what I've found. So I've already prepared my salad. I'll show you that at the end. And what I'm going to put together to go with the salad is a very quick wild garlic pesto. Wild garlic pesto is something I eat loads of at this time of year, and all of us foragers do, because it's so easy to prepare and it's really tasty. So my ingredients I've got on the table in front of me are some wild garlic, some hard Italian cheese, Parmesan or any of those sorts of cheeses, grated. I've got some wood sorrel, a couple of different types of nuts, and some olive oil, salt and pepper. That's all you need, plus a chopper of some sort. Now, pesto really just means sauce of the pestle and mortar. So using that technique, making it in a pestle and mortar, it ends up quite a coarse sauce. So pestos are always quite coarse sauces. You quite often see them made nowadays with one of those moon knives that rocks backwards and forwards on a nice bit of wood like this, chopping things into quite small bits, but not so fine it's a complete paste. Now, I've got one of these choppers instead, which does a similar thing. If you haven't seen one of these before, you might like this. So, first thing I'm going to put in is a small handful of hazelnuts. Now, hazelnuts we get plenty of in the wild over here. So you have to fight the squirrels for them, but you can forage your own hazelnuts in the UK. Pine nuts, which I'm just putting in a handful of now, we don't really get the same privileges with. We do have pines, obviously, and every pine cone has pine nuts in it, but these big ones come from a pine tree that we don't get in the UK. I'm putting these pine nuts in though because they add to the flavour. They're lovely. The hazelnuts are almost as good, and I do quite often prepare this with just hazelnuts, and not many people notice the difference. So the hazelnuts were whole, so I'm just going to get them started with our fancy little drawstring chopper. Now, these things are great, but unfortunately they're very breakable. This one here has lasted longer than any of the others that I've tried out so far, but we're looking for one that doesn't have little plastic bits inside the lid that break very easily, because we go through 3 or 4 of these every season making this pesto. So my nuts, the hazelnuts, are reasonably well chopped, and on top of that I'm going to put in a good handful, that's what I'd call this, a good handful of wild garlic leaves. Now I'm just going to get them started a little bit, help the chopper out. The leaves of wild garlic are the mildest part of the plant. So if I was just using the leaves, then I would probably use maybe even twice this much. But I'm also going to put in a load of these seed pods and flowers, which are twice as strong as the leaves. Much more bite to them. They have an onion side to the flavour and a stronger flavour of garlic. And also they leave some nice little lumps in your pesto for you. These stems, from the flowering parts of the plant, from the seed bearing stems, I'm going to keep these because these are the sweetest part of the plant. I'm going to chop them up small and make them into a nice wild garlic chutney at some point later today. But here with the pesto, we've got our nuts in there, we've got our wild garlic in there, and now I'm going to put in a handful of wood sorrel. Wood sorrel is a plant that we have all over the UK. I've done a video on this before. All you need to remember is 3 heart-shaped leaves. It's the plant that loves you 3 times, and you can ID wood sorrel safely. Now, it's going in there as a lemon substitute because a good decent green pesto needs a little squeeze of lemon juice, but as far as I know, we don't really get lemons in the wild in the UK, whereas wood sorrel we get everywhere, and it's got an acidity, a sort of citrus zing to the flavour. So in this pesto dish, it does exactly the same thing as a squeeze of lemon juice. And lastly, for the main ingredients, I'm going to put in a handful, a decent handful of our hard Italian cheese, already grated. And then I'm going to finish off with a large glug of olive oil and some salt and pepper. A bit more pepper than salt because I like things peppery, and that's the thing with this pesto. You can make it however you like it. If you like it cheesy, make it extra cheesy. If you like it nutty, make it extra nutty. This sort of 2-to-1 ratio, 2 handfuls of garlic to 1 handful of nuts and 1 handful of cheese, makes a very garlicky pesto. Now, to use this chopper for the pesto itself, I'm going to put it on the floor because the ground is notably more stable than my unstable table there, so it allows me to put a little bit more welly into my drawstring chopper. Give it a quick shake and have another little go. And then have a little look. I think, looking at this, I'm actually going to put in a touch more olive oil. You do use a surprising amount of olive oil in this dish. And obviously, it's good to get a nice olive oil to do so. Yeah, that's looking good. Just get these bits out of the way. And dish up. So, try to do this without making a mess, but I always spill some. There's the bit we spilt. Okay, some of the leftover ingredients and our forage salad and some bread to go with it. So if you want to come in closer, have a little look. This is how I like my garlic pestos to look. And this is a very quick, simple forager's salad. I said we do make a mess when we cook as foragers, but we can do some pretty food. And what I've got here is some lime leaves. I did a video on lime trees the other day. Some pennywort. There's some white dead nettle flowers. There's some ground elder and some chickweed, some hedge garlic flowers, and a bunch of, now the wind's picked up, it's getting a bit messier, a bunch of vetch flowers dotted around all over the place. They taste like peas and they're lovely. This last flower I've got in the middle is a Columbine flower. Now, Columbine is actually a toxic plant, but the flowers are perfectly edible. Pardon me. As long as you don't eat too many of them. They have a lovely, lovely flavour too. So what I'm going to do, just to finish off, is dress my salad with a nice sweet dressing. This is made with our elderberry vinegar, which is a nice sweet vinegar, and just some olive oil. It's good to use a sweet dressing with your wild salads because although I love all the flavours that are in here, there are certain things in here, the ground elder for example, which although they taste good, do have a little bit of bitterness to them. And so a nice sweet dressing just covers up those little bits of bitterness and lets you experience the flavours of the leaves in a slightly more pleasant way. So there we go. We've got some wild garlic pesto, a salad that really did take me 5 minutes to pick walking up and down my lane here, and a bit of bread to go with it. I rarely use this pesto with pasta, but obviously you can. I use it more as a dip or something to just spread on some nice crackers or nice bits of bread to go with a salad like this. So there you are, wild garlic pesto in about as much time as it takes to hard boil an egg. This is what we do with our foraged fare. I hope you enjoyed this, and if you want to find out more, go to www.wildfooduk.com.